Dr. Barbara Boyd. I am a professor at the University of Oklahoma.
My name is Rick Kelleher.
I'm Curtis, and I am a graduate student. I'm a PhD student in the Department of Anthropology.
My name is Delia Atmaja. I am a new Muslim, a graduate student at the University of Texas at Austin.
These people lived in the vast territory of the United States that is home to 280 million, unaware of one another's presence, until a few young Turkish men, whom they knew to be respectable and courteous, invited them to Turkey. They had full confidence in the people who invited them to Turkey. But still, they experienced a slight apprehension while making their decision to go, because they had not always heard good things about Turkey so far.
My image, let me back up to one of the earliest images I ever had of Turkish people. And that image was shown in a movie called Midnight Express. And it was about a Turkish prison. I expected Istanbul to be a rather primitive place, maybe like some of the cities in Africa I visited. I expected the Islamic people to be hostile towards me as an American.
Are you kidding? Turkey? And he very gently, and he's so gracious and calmly said, yes, we'd like for you to come to Turkey. And I just said, you mean to Turkey in the Middle East? And he said, yes. And so then I began to ask a million questions.
When you say Turks, it meant they were fierce. They were capable of whipping you at the drop of a hat if they were in battle. And all of the films we saw where Turks were kind of treated in films like Native Americans were treated in American films. And that's the kind of image you have, and you don't even know you have it.
And I considered so many things about the trip. Friends told me not to go. Friends said, no, you don't want to go to Turkey now. It's dangerous. One said, if you go, you might be beheaded.
I agonized over the decision to go. I really wasn't sure whether I should go. But after about 3 weeks of thought, something beckoned me, and I felt almost a mystical pull. So we went.
All warnings, biases, apprehensions were cast aside, and they decided to go to Turkey. They were expecting to see a Middle Eastern country with its historical sites, mosques, and world-famous Bosphorus. But none of them could guess that the new hopes for the world were flourishing in the heart of this rapidly developing country. Nice surprises awaited these American guests in Turkey.
For example, they would compete amongst themselves to, when we're having dinner or something, they would race to be the first one to jump up to serve the other people, to bring food or to get drinks or something, and they would and some of them would be happy just to be serving throughout the whole meal and never sit down and eat with us.
When we got to Turkey, we were received with such generosity and such kindness everywhere we went that I was overwhelmed. And the kindness and the generosity was equaled only by the beauty that I saw everywhere.
I've never come across such generosity as I found on my trip, on my 10 days that I spent in Turkey.
God created this place as beautiful as possible and then said, oh my, I've made this so beautiful, everyone else will be jealous. So I'm going to have to create the Turkish people to be incredibly hospitable and generous so they'll share it with everyone.
We got to Turkey and started traveling around and seeing the reception we got, the amazing numbers of young men who came and helped us and carried our bags and drove us around, and everyone who gave us places to stay, and food, who took very attentive to us all the time. The effect that had on us as a group was that we started talking to each other. We all came to love each other so much, and it was purely in reaction to the environment of people in Turkey who allowed us to drop all of those facades and all of those other identities that we wear, so that we could be human again. And that was truly, truly huge. That was a huge gift to us.
They were fascinated by the warm welcome Turkish people embraced them with. But this seemed to be their lifestyle, rather than a temporary care for a few guests coming from a distant land. And they began to question the source of this grace.
We were welcomed with open arms. We were certainly blessed, but we also heard strongly from our hosts that they were blessed as well as I'm sure in the Quran, that relate to the gift of the stranger, the gift of the other.
Later to find out that this is the teachings of the Prophet, and another step of my learning to deeper learning deeper of Islam, and seeing that my Turkish friends were already doing it and living it and living it very naturally.
Fine representation and sincerity introduced them to Islam. Islam was deeply rooted in the heart of Anatolia. Its beauty shone on the land. Although the streets were filled with the noise of the traffic, the divine call raising from the minarets 5 times a day could carry away those who had not lost their sense of hearing.
Allahu Ekber, Allah.